The girl suddenly noticed a stranger trying to pry open the door outside, so she immediately said her secret code for opening the door.
말은 말인데 타지 못하는 말은? 문제의 정답을 말하면 문을 열어줄 거야.
But the next second, the door lock suddenly turned, and then a man burst through the door.
삼촌 친구 맞아요?
Hearing the intense fighting sounds outside, Jian was scared and kept backing away, but the fighting sounds suddenly stopped. Another man rushed into the room. He hurriedly typed Duke into his phone, then continued typing that he was a friend of Jian's uncle. Just as Jian was about to say something, another group of killers arrived. The mute uncle quickly hid Jian in the bedroom and stayed outside to fight the killers. Jian saw that the outside had calmed down. Curiously, she opened a crack in the door to observe, but saw the mute uncle's arm was chopped off by the other side. Jian hurriedly closed the door but accidentally exposed her position. The floating curtain caught their attention. They lifted the curtain and saw Jian hanging on the water pipe.
아가, 너 거기서 떨어지면 진짜 큰일 날 수도 있다. 돼지거나 병신 될 수도 있다니까. 그러지 말고 여기 삼촌한테 와야.
Jian looked down and saw a sofa below, so she decisively let go of her grip. Jian hurriedly got up and ran desperately, but without realizing it, she was hit by a van. She narrowly escaped death. Soon, Jian was sent to the hospital for emergency treatment. She groggily heard the police say her parents were killed. Jian fainted again. When Jian woke up, it was already late at night. At this point, the killers had also tracked her to the hospital. They quietly entered the room and put a silencer on the handgun. But when the killer lifted the blanket, he found Jian was gone. It turned out Jian had slipped out of the room when the killer wasn't paying attention. But the passage was blocked by cargo at the end. She could only hide in the morgue, but there was nowhere to hide there. Seeing the killer about to break in, Jian had no choice but to open a body cabinet and hide inside. To her surprise, the body beside her was Jian's mother. At that moment, the killers were checking one by one outside. Jian hugged her mother in desperation. Just as the killer was about to open Jian's cabinet, one of the killer's partners suddenly broke into the morgue.
뭐예요? 얘기 안 했어요.
With the sound of intense fighting, it was Jian's uncle who had arrived. Seeing Jian curled up in her mother's arms, her uncle felt an immense sense of guilt, and Jian was the only bloodline left of his brother. She was his only relative. They had moved to a remote rural area. As Jian grew up day by day, her uncle began to teach her how to shoot. Jian quickly learned to use all sorts of weapons, but one day, her uncle suddenly died. The police concluded it was suicide, but usually, people who commit suicide cut their wrists. Her uncle had slashed his throat. Just after Jian finished identifying the body, she unexpectedly